And we're back with episode 4 of Dog Football Weekly. It's your host, Reed, with your co host.
Russ.
And our special guest today is
Jud Olf.
Judd. You're a young entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Indeed.
Would you tell us a little bit about your business?
Me and one of my best buddies, Ryan Powers, started doing bees over the summer, and we started off small, just selling honey to local people, and we've slowly moved into stores, and now we're starting to sell T-shirts. So, would love if the listeners would come support the company.
Well, folks, you heard it here first. That's our ad of the day, our sponsor, Valley Boys Honey. Judd, what makes your honey so special?
There's a lot of love and care that goes into it, and it's just the best honey you could possibly think of. So I would recommend buying.
Very interesting. Folks, for honey at any gathering, any occasion, I ate it on my Thanksgiving lunch and my Christmas dinner. But anyways, today's episode is gonna be a little different. We're gonna go to the phones today, sponsored by Valley Boys, and answer some calls from some fans. Um, our first caller will be here short. Oh, there he is.
Hey boys, I'm a big fan of the show. Charlie Briscoe here.
Nice to see you, Charlie.
So Russ, what are your thoughts on Khalid Ringo?
I hate the guy personally. I think he's the worst corner on the team. I heard Judd had something to say about him the other day that was, you know, he said he had different opinions, and I want to hear his.
Well, indeed, Keely Ringo, he catches a lot of hate. It's tough to be a cornerback one. You're facing the best wide receiver on each team's roster. And, he went and played last week, Marvin Harrison, probably the best wide receiver in college football and probably the best we've seen in a while, along with a great quarterback to get him a rock. So, it's hard to say that, he's sorry because he's playing, great competition week in and week out. And, I think he puts up a decent effort for what he is. I think he's highly skilled. I think there's some fine tuning, and we'd love to see him play better. But, I mean, not what you love to see so far, but it's expected for what position he's put
I
in.
think he has the ability to be the best corner in this draft class. Just his that speed, strength, and size combination is hard to find at the position, and there's something missing in this game. We've talked about it all week, really going with him. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a ball hawk, man, and he's lost this guy in coverage a couple times. If you look back at the film, it's a lot of zone stuff. You can see that he's really strong off the press man. Because he's a bigger corner. I mean, the NFL's moving these,
Muscular.
yeah, big guy. NFL's moving these bigger corners, and he's a big press man guy, and he's lost it in the zone a little bit. But I think with proper NFL coaching, I mean, he can be something great.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see these next couple of years and where he ends up. Obviously, I'd love to see him on our hometown Falcons. Know they need guys everywhere, really.
Reed, I'd like to talk about more about Khalid Ringo. I agree with you and Judd saying he's a physically impressive cornerback. I think what his issue is he gets his eyes caught in the backfield a lot, and that gets him losing his receiver. But I think he's going to continue to improve, and like you said, I think he will be a very good day one prospect for the NFL draft this year.
Well, I think he has great um, vertical speed up and down the field. He's but once guys start turning and breaking routes and cutting hard cuts, he's got trouble. For me, from what it looks like, and I'm no coach, but for me, what it's like is he's got trouble. He's not as fast trailing receivers, but he's he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys where he's gonna make big time plays. You know, he covers well, but if he could really work on his lateral quickness from side to side, I think he'd end up being, he'd be a shutdown guy, and that's really what he's missing.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Reed. And Another corner we don't talk about as much is freshman Malachi Starks. I think he's been very impressive all year. How do you think him and the rest of the secondary can sort of back up Khalil Ringo this
Um,
championship?
Malachi Starks is one of those guys. He's um he's one of those guys that he makes big plays. He made a big play early on in the year. He had a big time catch, big time interception against Oregon. He's given up his fair share of big plays too in the LSU game. I think there's one in Mississippi State, but he's one of those guys that one of those young pieces Georgia's got like Michael Williams and Marvin Jones Jr. Who we've seen glimpses of here and there, but they're really about to unlock their full potential in the next 2 seasons and then be high draft picks.
I'd have to agree as well on that read. And moving to the offense, you talked about Oscar Delp earlier in previous episodes. Well, who's another offensive player you think could have a bigger role in this national championship game?
Oscar Delp is a guy that I'd love to see. One of the guys who I think could have a breakout game. Really, they obviously feature a lot of backs. Georgia does, so it's hard to tell really who's going to get the most carries. But I love a guy like Dejon Edwards or Branson Robinson. I think they're great downhill runners. I think they'd have a great game. One of them, really, if two of them had a phenomenal game, that'll set Georgia's passing attack up nicely. Obviously, I hope Darnell Washington he's cleared to play, which that's really good news for this team. Um, I could really see him going for like 5 to 6 catches for about 100 and 110 yards and 2 touchdowns and really solidifying his draft stock as maybe the number one or number two tight end in this next year's draft. What do you think, Judd?
That's one thing about the Dogs is they got weapons everywhere, and they like to do it by committee, especially with the running backs. You'll see a guy come in for 3 downs, get switched out, but it's almost a better way to play, because the Dogs can't have a bad day. With that many good pieces around you, you can always find a guy. I think what the Dogs need to do is play by the script. I mean, these young guys, the Delp guy, like obviously you'd love to see your young guys get some good catches, but if we can come out early and play by the script and get the ball to Bowers on a screen and run for 8 yards of carry and play like that and just play like how we have all season and limit them to under 28 points, then I just think this would be one of the least entertaining national championships if Georgia can come out early and do what they're supposed to do.
I completely agree with you, Judd. I think that this Georgia team really just needs to hit them in the mouth early and just stay just level, running the ball, work the ground game, set up play action pass for Stetson Bennett, and just wear this TCU team down. I don't think they have enough depth to handle 4 quarters with Georgia, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
Well, Charlie, one more question before you go. What's your score prediction?
I think TCU strikes early first. Georgia struggled really to produce early on in the game, and I think they strike early, kind of get us on our feet and get us going. And I think Kirby rallies us. I think we kind of pull away. I'm gonna say 47-33, Georgia.
Interesting. That's a take I haven't heard a lot. This morning I was reading. I saw a statistic in games where Georgia scores more than 30 points. Kirby Smart is like, I think he's 30-1. So really, TCU TCU's only hope is to shut down that offense and get in a game like they had with Texas, where it was really kind of big runs here and there, but the passing game was really shut down. Kind of a TCU's best hope is to keep this team under 30 points. Well, thank you, Charlie. We're going to go to our next caller now. Our next caller will be on shortly. Judd, I forgot to ask you, what are the Hornets looking like this season? Oh, here's our caller. Hello.
Hey, it's Ryan Powers from Valley Boys Honey.
Good to
Hey,
see you,
we're
Ryan.
calling to tell everybody we got some new T-shirts in. Y'all should go and buy one. Contact me or Judd and just hit us up.
Oh yeah, talk to him, Ryan.
Let us know, Ryan.
We just recently got some new T-shirts in. We got every size, so y'all come and buy one.
Thank you for letting us know. Ryan, what's your take on Georgia's win versus Ohio State and how they're going to play heading into this national championship?
I think Stetson Bennett didn't have his best game. I think if he would have done better and read more of his keys, I think Georgia wouldn't have been put in that situation. But he's really talented. I think that if he does what Kirby tells him to, that they won't have a problem against their next game.
Yeah, I really feel the same way. I think he's really at times I feel like Georgia fans are ungrateful for all he does because he really opens up your playbook with his ability to run. You know, he's a good decision maker for the most part. And, I think we're really blessed to have him, and it's a really great time to see him put on that red uniform every week.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Ryan, what's your take on the national championship game, and what's your score prediction?
Score prediction. I think if Georgia comes out and does what they're supposed to, we're looking at a 14-49 score. That's my score prediction.
Who wins?
Georgia. I got Georgia.
All right, just wanted to clarify. Well, thank you for your call, Ryan. Hope you have a good day. Wow, he was a good athlete in high school.
Quite a player, that Ryan Powers. Freak athlete, businessman now, and you love to see him out there, prospering in the community.
Yeah, really a cool thing what they've done with Valley Boys Honey.
And being a young guy playing behind Ryan was really inspirational this year. Learned a lot from him. He really helped me develop into the player I am today.
It's a shame he didn't. Is Ryan going to play ball somewhere?
I think I've heard that he's got some potential looks, and he's looking to play somewhere. So, we'll find out when the spring comes along, most likely, if where Ryan will be furthering his academic career and maybe possibly his sports career too.
No, got a call.
Good for Ryan.
Hello.
What's up, guys?
Who is this?
Hunter Kirkley from D. Westfield School.
Oh no. Hunter, it's to my understanding that you're a Florida Gators fan?
I am diehard Florida Gators
Well-
fan, but we suck. So I mean,
Well, Hunter, what is your opinion? I have a couple questions to ask you. What is your opinion on Anthony Richardson?
I think Anthony Richardson is probably the most skilled wise, athletic wise quarterback in the draft. But he is stupid.
Can you elaborate on that?
Let me just clarify, okay? Listen to this. We're playing Florida State the last game of the season, right? He starts out I might be wrong, but it was like 13 for 14. He might even have been like 18 of 19. And he was dialing it up. I mean, getting into our receivers, doing what he's supposed to do. He comes back out 0 for 11 the rest of the game. 0 for 11.
I'm sorry, Hunter, but as a Georgia fan, I love to see that. Well,
We lost him.
we lost him. Anyway,
Guess he didn't like that comment.
He's
Seems the call failed.
seems like the call has failed. Well, Anthony Richardson was one of those guys. I think he could be a great NFL quarterback, but to me, he's the big boomer bust guy in this class.
Oh, I'd have to agree.
And-
ceiling Cam Newton.
His ceiling is Cam Newton, but his floor is, Jamarcus Russell.
I've never even heard of that guy.
That's a low blow, Reed. As for someone who, drank himself out of the league in this first season.
Yeah, he's got a nice last name though.
Russell, yeah.
Yeah.
We love Russells around this podcast.
Amen to that. Well, I'm sorry that call failed, but that's going to be it for today's episode of DAWG Football Weekly. We hope you enjoy it. We will be back Monday for a national championship special, and our guest features that day will be star shooting guard Brody McDaniel and our hometown hero Hunter Kirkley. We'll see you then.